A lot of people like to poke fun at non-voters. And I say time and time again, non-voters are the largest voting bloc. Hello everybody and welcome back to Politics for Beginners. My name is Clinton. Today we are talking about the voter paradox. The voter paradox attempts to answer the age-old question, why do we bother to vote? The paradox says that if every single person who was able to vote voted, then essentially your vote doesn't matter at all. However, if you were the only person who voted, well then you just decided the whole damn election. So that is the paradox itself. On one side, everybody voting. On the other side, only you are voting. The reality is somewhere in the middle. I'm going to kind of be looking off screen a little bit because I have some statistics that I want to share with you guys. We're going to be kind of looking at some of the stats from the most recent 2021 election. These statistics are backed by Elections Canada. First off, we will talk about the actual electorate. There was approximately 17,200,000 voters. That means approximately 17 million people actually cast a ballot, whether that be physically going to a voting location or using mail-in voting. The statistic that I really want to get into is the voter turnout. The voter turnout is the percentage of the population that actually showed up to vote. In 2021, it was 62.5%, meaning that approximately 38% of the population didn't show up at all. Out of those 62.5%, we had 33% voting Liberal, 34% voting Conservative, and 16% voting for the New Democrats. The remaining percentages were divvied up by the Bloc Québécois, the Greens, and independent candidates. A lot of you guys are going to say, wait, full stop here. I thought the Liberals won. Isn't Justin Trudeau the Prime Minister? That is true. It is actually becoming more and more common, both in the Canadian and the American political systems, to have the person who wins the percentage not necessarily winning the actual office, right? This is because of first past the post and ridings and seats, and we're going to get into that in much later videos. But just because when you look at the population as a whole, 33% voted Liberal, 34% voted Conservative, but just because of the way that they kind of chopped the map up, the Liberals won. The interesting thing to understand, and again, not to get too much into the math, because math is not my subject, and I understand that a lot of people get lost in the numbers.
I asked ChatGPT to crunch the numbers, so I'm having AI say this section. Only 62% of the population voted. 33% of eligible voters chose the Liberal Party. That means that only 20% of the population supports the Liberals, in contrast to 38% of the population who chose not to vote.
And that is a very important statistic to understand, that 20% of the population supports the government and 38% of the population didn't even bother to vote at all. The big purpose of this video is to try and tackle the question of why do we even bother to vote at all? Because there is this thinking that my vote doesn't really matter. And that's a mindset that I really want to challenge in this video today. Because the important thing to remember is that if you don't vote, you are essentially letting other people make decisions for you. Now, a lot of the time when I talk with non-voters, I hear one of two things or one of two reasons why they don't vote. The first is that they just are uninformed and they just don't know. The second is that they hate all the options. And that's fair. You know, both of these objections we can tackle. The first one is tackled with education, and that's the whole purpose of this channel. I hope you guys watching this video and watching the videos on this channel will never use the excuse, I didn't know, because there is plenty of information out there for those people who are willing to look for it. But for those of you who say they don't like their options, that's completely fair. And this is something that the modern ballot actually misses. There is a phrase in political science called I abstain. And I abstain is very different from I don't care, right? I abstain means that I have seen the options presented and I don't like any of them. I will not support any of the options presented. I abstain. And I think that that is a very important piece that is missing from modern elections. A lot of people think that non-voters don't care, and I think that that is not the correct word and not the correct feeling. I don't think apathy is the problem. I think rage, and I think frustration, and I think the idea that a lot of non-voters just think that their decision doesn't matter. But I'm going to emphasize the fact that by not voting, you are essentially letting other people make these decisions for you. I'm going to end off this video with a quote I found from Plato. And full transparency, I was trying to dig around the internet to figure out which book this actually came from, because I don't really remember Plato saying this, so this could totally be meme culture. But I wanted to read the line out to you guys anyway. And the line is, one of the penalties of refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. And isn't that something? You know, the idea that we all have some intrinsic value inside us. In a democracy, every vote should matter. We should all want to share our opinions. But if you refuse to do so, you are letting your inferiors or possibly your enemies make those decisions for you. So just a little video for you guys today. I won't ramble as long as I usually do, but do not get caught up in the voter paradox trap. If everybody votes, your vote doesn't matter. If you are the only person who votes, you just called the election. In reality, it is always going to be a space in the center of these two extremes. So your vote does matter, your voice does matter, and the more people we actually get to vote, we're going to crank up that voter turnout, which again, in the last election was only 62%. I think it hit like an all-time high at 70. I don't think in the Canadian history we have ever had 80% voter turnout. But let's get there. Let's treat that as a goal, because the more people who participate in politics, that is a good thing. So thank you for listening. My name is Clinton. One world, one love. Get out and vote. Except for us Canadians, we just gotta wait. Wait until the next election, whenever that is. I'll see you guys in the next video.